In the frenetic world we live in, it's easy to get lost in the mazes of the mind, feeding worries and anxieties that consume us. But as the Stoics teach us, true freedom lies in the ability to master our thoughts and emotions, finding tranquility even amidst chaos. It's a challenging but rewarding journey. By practicing control over our minds, we discover an inner calm unaffected by external circumstances. Just as the master Marcus Aurelius reminds us, we are capable of finding peace even in the eye of the storm. Stoic philosophy invites us to adopt a stance of acceptance towards what we cannot control, directing our energy towards what is within our domain, our reactions, our choices, our thoughts. It's not about denying emotions, but understanding and transcending their influence over us. It's like becoming the captain of a ship amidst a stormy sea, keeping the course steady even in the face of the highest waves. Throughout this video, let's explore together the 10 ways to stop overthinking, according to the principles of Stoicism. It's not just about adopting a passive stance towards circumstances, but cultivating a resilient mindset, capable of facing life's challenges with serenity and clarity. Before we proceed, it's important to acknowledge that this video has reached you thanks to the support and love of those who, like you, subscribed to our channel previously. Your interactions, whether likes, comments, or subscriptions, propel our journey. Now it's your turn to show gratitude and support by joining us, liking, commenting, and subscribing for more inspiring content. 1. Shift your perspective on gratitude. In Stoic teachings, Marcus Aurelius reminds us of the importance of cultivating gratitude, not only for the good things in life, but also for the challenges and difficulties that strengthen us. By shifting our perspective and finding something to be thankful for in every situation, we develop a more positive and resilient mindset, contributing to mental balance. By practicing gratitude, we're not denying difficulties, but recognizing that even challenging moments have the potential to teach us and help us grow. When we learn to value all experiences in life, whether positive or negative, we transform our relationship with the world and find inner peace. Gratitude helps us stay focused on the present, cultivating a state of contentment and acceptance of the current moment. Instead of excessively worrying about the future or lamenting the past, we learn to appreciate the here and now, finding beauty in the small things of daily life. The practice of gratitude strengthens our relationships and our connection with others. By expressing our appreciation for the people and things we have in our lives, we cultivate deeper and more meaningful bonds, creating a sense of community and belonging. By adopting a perspective of gratitude, we not only improve our mental and emotional health, but also contribute to a more compassionate and supportive world. As Marcus Aurelius reminds us, true wealth lies not in the abundance of material goods, but in the abundance of gratitude in our hearts. 2. Embrace impermanence and practice detachment. Accepting the impermanence of life and practicing detachment are fundamental principles of Stoicism, as taught by Marcus Aurelius. He advises us not to cling excessively to material things or external circumstances, as everything is transient. By embracing this truth, we find freedom and inner peace, reducing the burden of excessive thoughts about the future and worries about what is beyond our control. Detachment doesn't mean denying the value of things, but recognizing their ephemeral nature and understanding that our happiness is not inherently linked to them. By detaching ourselves from expectations and the shackles of materialism, we gain a sense of lightness and fluidity in life. By accepting impermanence as a natural part of existence, we develop greater emotional resilience and adaptability to change. Instead of excessively worrying about what the future holds, we learn to fully live in the present moment, enjoying each experience as it is without trying to control or anticipate what is to come. This practice of detachment is not easy and requires conscious effort to overcome our natural tendencies of attachment and security. However, by freeing ourselves from the bonds of attachment, we open ourselves to a new world of possibilities and personal growth. Therefore, embracing impermanence and practicing detachment are essential pillars for achieving mental balance according to Marcus Aurelius. By integrating these principles into our daily lives, we find inner peace that transcends the external fluctuations of life, thus cultivating a state of serenity and unwavering acceptance. 3. Focus on effort, not on the result. To achieve mental balance, it is crucial to internalize the Stoic philosophy of focusing on effort rather than on the result. Marcus Aurelius, one of the main proponents of Stoicism, emphasizes the importance of fully dedicating ourselves to our actions, prioritizing integrity and virtue, while detaching ourselves from the final results, over which we have no direct control. This approach allows us to reduce anxiety derived from excessive concern about the future, directing our energy to the present and to the process itself. By adopting this mindset, we are able to dive deeply into the tasks we face without the constant weight of expecting a result. This frees us from self-imposed pressure and allows us to flow more easily in our activities. Instead of worrying about what could happen in the future, we focus our attention on what we can do now, making the most of each moment. By becoming more aware of the effort we put into our actions, we develop a greater appreciation for the process itself. After all, it is in the process that we find opportunities to grow, learn, and develop as individuals. Accepting that the final result is beyond our control frees us to embrace the present moment with gratitude and acceptance. This Stoic practice teaches us to value the journey as much as the destination. Instead of getting lost in speculation about what could happen, we learn to embrace uncertainty with calmness and resilience. Ultimately, by directing our attention to the effort, we build a solid foundation for mental balance, cultivating a mindset focused on the present and accepting what is beyond our control. 4. Redirect your energy. When we find ourselves caught in a whirlwind of excessive and negative thoughts, it is crucial to interrupt this harmful cycle and redirect our energy towards what truly matters. Marcus Aurelius, with his Stoic wisdom, guides us in this process, encouraging us to focus our thoughts on what is good, beautiful, and true. By cultivating a mindset that finds inspiration in virtues and the pursuit of wisdom, we begin to build a calmer and more balanced mind. Redirecting our energy positively is not an easy task, especially when we are immersed in negative thought patterns. However, by adopting the Stoic perspective, we are reminded of the importance of focusing on what is within our control, our own choices and attitudes. Instead of allowing ourselves to be consumed by worries and anxieties about the future, we can turn our attention to the present, finding gratitude and contentment in the small things of life. In this process of redirection, it is also essential to cultivate self-compassion and acceptance. Recognizing that it is human to have negative thoughts and that we are not defined by them helps us release the weight of these concerns. Instead of struggling against these thoughts, we can embrace them with kindness and then redirect our attention to more constructive and positive thoughts. As we practice these Stoic techniques for mental balance, we begin to notice a gradual shift in our perspective. The challenges and setbacks of life no longer affect us so deeply as we learn to find inner peace and contentment independent of external circumstances. Ultimately, by following the teachings of Marcus Aurelius and striving to redirect our energy towards what is truly meaningful, we discover the power of a calm and balanced mind, capable of facing the ups and downs of life with serenity and wisdom. 5. Visualize your overthinking as a force. Visualizing overthinking as a force to be tamed is a fundamental perspective within the Stoic context, and Marcus Aurelius guides us in this direction. He encourages us to see our thoughts not as entities that dominate us, but as elements that we can direct and control. This paradigm shift allows us to transcend the feeling of anguish and worry that often accompanies overthinking. By adopting this approach, we begin to understand that our thoughts are not enemies but tools that we can use for our benefit. Like a force of nature, our thoughts can be shaped and redirected to serve our higher purposes. Instead of being dragged into the mazes of mental rumination, we learn to channel this mental energy into constructive and meaningful activities. This change in perspective gives us a renewed sense of power over our own minds. Instead of feeling powerless in the face of a flood of unwanted thoughts, we begin to realize that we have control over how we respond to them. This awareness empowers us to develop greater mental and emotional clarity, allowing us to make decisions more discerningly and to act more effectively in our daily lives. By visualizing our thoughts as a force that we can shape and use for our benefit, we are essentially embracing the core of Stoic philosophy. We recognize that true freedom lies not in the absence of thoughts, but in mastery over them. Thus, instead of being slaves to our minds, we become their masters, empowered to achieve a state of mental and emotional balance that allows us to live with more serenity and purpose. 6. Create a worry period. Setting aside a specific time to deal with worries is a powerful strategy to combat overthinking, as suggested by Marcus Aurelius. By allocating a moment of our day to reflect consciously and structuredly on our concerns, we follow a Stoic approach that allows us to maintain mental and emotional balance. This practice helps us avoid letting worries dominate our minds throughout the day, which can lead to a constant state of anxiety and stress. By setting clear boundaries, we can better control our thoughts and direct our energy towards more constructive and meaningful issues. During this designated period, we can dedicate time to analyze our concerns in a logical and objective manner. Instead of letting them consume us uncontrollably, we can approach them calmly and clearly, seeking practical solutions and identifying ways to deal with them effectively. Moreover, setting aside a specific time for worries allows us to separate these thoughts from the rest of our day. This enables us to enjoy moments of peace and rest without the constant interference of intrusive thoughts. By practicing this approach, we cultivate greater mental discipline and strengthen our ability to deal with life's challenges in a balanced way. Instead of being dominated by worries, we learn to control them and keep them in perspective, allowing us to live with more serenity and inner peace. 7. Break oppressive thoughts into concrete steps. When we find ourselves overwhelmed by oppressive thoughts, Marcus Aurelius offers us a valuable strategy, breaking down these thoughts into concrete and achievable steps. This Stoic approach allows us to deal more effectively with our concerns, reducing the feeling of mental overload and contributing to maintaining balance and mental clarity in the face of challenges. By breaking down our concerns into smaller and more manageable tasks, we make the resolution process more accessible and less daunting. Instead of feeling overwhelmed by the magnitude of a situation, we can focus our energy on each individual step, steadily advancing towards the final goal. This practical approach helps us tackle our problems with more confidence and determination. Instead of being paralyzed by anxiety and fear of the unknown, we can focus on tangible actions that gradually bring us closer to solving the problem. Moreover, by breaking down our oppressive thoughts into concrete steps, we gain a greater sense of control over our own lives. Instead of feeling at the mercy of circumstances, we recognize that we have the power to influence the course of events through our deliberate and consistent actions. This practice also helps us cultivate the patience and perseverance necessary to overcome obstacles. As we progress towards our goals, we learn to value the process as much as the final result, finding satisfaction and fulfillment in each small achievement along the way. 8. Seek wisdom outside yourself. In Stoicism, the pursuit of wisdom beyond oneself is a fundamental principle that Marcus Aurelius frequently reminds us of. This philosophy invites us to cultivate humility and recognize that our understanding of the world is limited and that we can learn a lot from others and from experiences that are not our own. By being open to the teachings of the wise and to knowledge beyond our own experiences, we expand the horizons of our understanding. We recognize that we do not have all the answers and that each person carries with them a unique and valuable perspective on life and the world. This openness to constant learning is a powerful tool against excessive and limited thinking. Instead of closing ourselves off to our own ideas and prejudices, we allow ourselves to be influenced by the views of others, thus enriching our own understanding and perspective. Moreover, by seeking wisdom outside ourselves, we strengthen our minds against the pitfalls of arrogance and self-delusion. We recognize that we are beings in constant evolution and that there is always more to learn and discover about the world and ourselves. This practice reminds us of the importance of humility and openness to the new. By being receptive to the knowledge of others, we enrich our own journey and become more resilient in the face of life's challenges. 9. Practice voluntary discomfort. The practice of voluntary discomfort is a powerful strategy to strengthen our resilience and develop a stronger and more disciplined mind, as Marcus Aurelius teaches us. By consciously seeking uncomfortable situations, such as fasting or intense physical exercise, we challenge ourselves to step out of our comfort zone and face adversity head-on. By adopting this approach, we are training our ability to deal with discomfort and uncertainty, essential skills for facing life's challenges with more courage and determination. Instead of avoiding discomfort, we learn to embrace it as an opportunity for growth and self-development. Fasting, for example, not only strengthens our self-control and discipline, but also allows us to develop a greater appreciation for food and the basic needs of our bodies. Similarly, intense physical exercise challenges us to overcome our own limits and to persevere even when faced with difficulties. By practicing voluntary discomfort consciously and deliberately, we are strengthening not only our body, but also our mind. We develop a more robust and resilient mindset, which allows us to deal with overthinking and anxiety more effectively. Moreover, by facing voluntary discomfort, we are preparing ourselves to face the inevitable challenges that arise throughout life. We learn not only to survive, but to thrive in the face of adversity, building a solid foundation for mental and emotional balance. Therefore, by following Stoic practices for mental balance, we are reminded of the importance of practicing voluntary discomfort. By challenging our limits and facing uncomfortable situations consciously and voluntarily, we strengthen our resilience and develop a stronger and more disciplined mind, capable of facing life's challenges with courage and determination. 10. Reflect on the transience of life. Reflecting on the transience of life is an essential practice in Stoicism. This philosophy reminds us of the impermanence of all things and the brevity of human existence. By contemplating this inevitable truth, we gain a broader perspective on our concerns and anxieties, finding serenity in accepting the natural flow of life. This reflection helps us put into perspective the tribulations of everyday life, reminding us that everything is temporary and that, in the grand scheme of things, our problems may not be as significant as we imagine. Instead of being consumed by trivial worries, we learn to focus our energy on what truly matters, cherishing each moment and experience as a precious gift. Moreover, by reflecting on the transience of life, we are inspired to live more fully and authentically. We recognize the fragility of human existence and the importance of seizing each day as if it were our last, seeking meaning and purpose in everything we do. This practice also helps us cultivate greater compassion and empathy for others. By acknowledging the universality of impermanence, we develop a greater capacity to put ourselves in others' shoes and to value the human connections we share in this brief moment of time. As we conclude this journey exploring Stoic practices for mental balance, I invite you to reflect on how these principles can be incorporated into your own life. It's not just about adopting new ideas, but about transforming the way we think, act, and relate to the world around us. May this ancient wisdom illuminate your path towards a more serene and resilient mind. Always remember, even in the midst of chaos, true inner peace is within reach for those who have the courage to seek it.